Welcome back for episode 13 of Following Freak Show, a show that is dedicated to discussing the season finale of American Horror Story Freak Show. I'm your moderator, Perry Nemiroff, and here are our panelists.
Hi, I'm Alexis Barlow.
Hi, I'm Meg Patterson.
Hello, I'm Sasha Capelli.
All right, so in episode 13, Curtain Call, basically everybody likable dies. That's actually really what happens, and that's the gist of it right there. But just so you have a little more information before we jump into our discussion, the freaks aren't happy with how Dandy's running the show, and then we've got Elsa out in Hollywood, and she kind of comes to realize that life as a star isn't really as fulfilling as she thought it'd be. So let's just jump right into it and go for the big starting point here. Meg, what'd you think of Dandy's latest tantrum/killing spree?
Yeah, so I'll give them the credit that I really didn't see it coming at all. I mean, it was kind of surprising. I didn't think he'd necessarily go on a shooting spree. But at the same time, when they're all going to pin him down and punch him and show him that, you know, we're not going to work for you, we quit. But then they stick around and, like, where's my money? And, sorry. She's pissed, too. It was a ridiculous episode. So, yeah, no, but, like, when they're sticking around and then, you know, where's my money? And they're, of course, going to end up getting shot. So then when he goes around and shoots absolutely everybody except for Des when she's hiding in the closet, she doesn't ever come out and stick up for Amazon Eve.
I know.
It was pathetic, and it just didn't seem like the character that they built her up to be. She's the one leading the whole, like, charge against Elsa the episode before, and now all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm going to hide in the closet? Like, it just, the whole shootout, while it was really well done, and they killed off everybody that was kind of a side character and left the three big actors, it just didn't really sit well with me, as surprising as it was.
Yeah.
It doesn't sit well with me because it's such a cheap tactic. It's like, I'll admit there was entertainment value in it, and, like, I was, like, a little nervous when he's, like, hunting certain people, and, like, he just walks up and shoots whoever, but it was just so freaking obvious that they introduced too many characters, they couldn't fix it all, so this is just how they were going to clean it up. I mean, I could practically hear the writer's discussion coming up with this idea and thinking it was some genius way to wrap up the show, and it felt really cheap and insulting, too.
And nobody fought back except Eve, really? They all could hear the bullets. They didn't, like, sneak up behind him or something?
Yeah, it was a mess. It was, like, it was unfair. It might as well have all been a dream. Like, they might, you know, like, it might as well have all been, like, Elsa's dream.
It was also obvious, too. I feel like that's why it wasn't half as suspenseful as it could have been, because not that I saw the shootout coming. I didn't know Dandy was going to do that. And I actually think it wasn't in line with the character that they built up all season long, because this is a guy, like, throwing a tantrum and shooting everyone is what he would have done in the beginning. But all we've done for the past, like, I want to say 6 episodes is bring him from, like, a little boy who throws tantrums to an adult who's manipulative and can get what he wants by being smart about it. So this is kind of like just doing away with it all, and I guess that opening scene is what's meant to justify that, but that's, like, a deconstruction of a character that you would have wanted to see play out over, like, minutes and minutes, if not full episodes, but it's reduced to one scene, and then all of a sudden he snaps. And I mean, the second he shot Paul, I'm like, fuck, they're all dead. They're just all dead. I knew it.
Yeah, and it was like, it wasn't even, like, it was like, oh, like, when he shot Paul, but, like we were saying, like, it just became so predictable, and so, it was like, oh, like, I really can hear, like, it's either, like, it's gonna be Elsa wakes up and the whole damn thing's a dream, or let's shoot everybody dead, you know, one by one, quickly, in one scene, you know, like, it was too quick, too out of character to even make sense. It was, I did not care for it.
And on it being a dream, too. I mean, it felt like it was almost so blatantly obvious that he never loads his gun, and that tiny little gun has so many bullets in it that almost made it feel like maybe it does have to be either not real or some kind of dream sequence or something, because it was so just blatant. That
I was looking at some of the comments on Twitter, and it's incredible how many people pointed that out. His little, like, prissy gun, and it's got endless bullets in it.
So was that done purposely? I don't know.
No, I mean, I feel like they would have given that away, hopefully.
Yeah.
God, that was just so disappointing. It's just so disappointing, too, that they had to do it to the most likable characters. Because it's like, over the course of the season, they kind of ruined all the main characters, and the only ones who were left that were likable and kind of had that really natural warm feeling to them and always adhere to the goal of making the freak show a family then they just killed them all. Like, that's just pretty much the most upsetting thing you can do. And the biggest slap in the face to the audience who have been tracking these characters since day one. And they've always been teasing the fact that there's something more to them. So like, here we are, wasting hours exploring, like, the possibilities for all these people. And then it's just like, boom, 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 they're gone, and that's it.
Yeah, and it wasn't even, it was anticlimactic, and it was like, I didn't even care if Dandy died or not. You know what I mean? I didn't even care if he got punished. I didn't, we saw the freaks band together in the last episode. That was bomb. But now there's, 1.5 freaks left, and so cool. Let's drown them. That wasn't at all, it made sense, I guess, because it was a reaction to the shootout, but it was also, you guys mentioned Des, that really did piss me off, because she's one of the characters that we have been tracking and that we love. She's one of our heroes, she's the Elsa I've always wanted. And, she's hiding in the closet, and then, we see her later all, married. And come on, that's not cool.
It's not fair.
No, it's not.
No,
we actually brought up a good thing that would serve as a transition to our next topic, which is Dandy, because I do agree. I think that the massacre scene really had an effect on what happened to him next. But Alexis, you want to start us off with that one?
So the ultimate after effect of all the shootout, we did get that amazing Dandy and Bettendat wedding scene, which I, for one, thought was delightful. And the revenge afterwards, when it was revealed that she was working with both Jimmy and Des to bring Dandy down. And then we had, of course, they kill him in a way that's perfect. They make him the star of the show and drown him in the Houdini, water torture thing, which maybe could have been a little more dramatic or at least longer or something. I don't know. But I love that they just sat there and watched. And it didn't make them feel like evil or anything. It felt like it was justified, I thought.
Mm-hmm. I guess it was justified after the whole massacre thing. It's just, again, after a season of building the character, it almost felt too easy. It's like he fell for the oldest trick in the book. Here's a guy who was, super manipulative onto everyone. He had, the upper hand in every situation. He had his detective buddy for a while, and now all of a sudden he just, lets someone slip something into his drink.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he was blinded by his love and his wanting to have freak baby.
Which they didn't explain either. They just, it went straight from, oh, I'm kidnapping you, and then they don't show them tricking him and the whole, you put on a better performance than Betty Davis. We don't see any of that. It's just all of a sudden it's a wedding and you think that's fake, too.
That's exactly what I wrote in my review. I'm like, great that you said that, but if we don't see it, how's it going to work?
Exactly,
and it doesn't. It just doesn't feel like that big of a payoff. But, Alexis, I'll definitely agree with you. There was something about, just the theatrical quality of how they tortured Dandy. It's I almost wish that if the freaks all throughout the season were going to ever get kind of evil-ish and kill people that were going against them, I wish they had done it in that manner. Not necessarily in every episode, but if any time someone threatened them, they killed them and did it in this very freak show-like way.
Right.
That could have been, again, it's still just entertainment without all the character development and the episode overlap that the show needed, but still, that would have been a lot better than seeing the freaks just, up in arms, let's, hack someone to death for...
Yeah, and it was a neat, and I got all excited that, I was top hat, magic, and, I was whatever, I'm too tired to even, to deal with it, but, last episode when they actually, stole the Meep trick from the movie Freaks, I took it. I was like, you know what? This is what I've been waiting for. Freaks banding together and being freaks, and that's what it was nice to see a show of killing Dandy, I guess. But like you said, Perry, it's. I could have had more. It could have been more set up. The whole episode could have been about killing Dandy for all I care. It could have been a Dandy episode and I would have been more satisfied. We could have tied everything up just by having following Dandy around and seeing why he chose to straight up drive by shoot everyone, and that would have satisfied me more than just a quick let's shoot everyone and then drown them and Houdini watch them.
That's what you needed. Screw the whole ending with Elsa. Make this whole thing lead up to the freaking shootout.
Right, exactly.
Expand that beginning part, and that shootout, how many characters died, and it was I think it was almost exactly 5 minutes long. 5 minutes to destroy something 5 or 6 key characters that they've spent episodes establishing. That's I mean, really, just do the math. That's obviously wrong.
They had a whole scene to say, we got to just try to get along. This is our only chance at a freak show. And then 2 seconds later, oh, we quit. Like,
like just everything was a whole big disservice to Dandy, too. It's like he was the greatest part of the show all along. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, let's throw it all away right now so we could wrap up the show faster. And it's like, I mean, that's probably a big part of the reason that his big death scene didn't feel as satisfying to me. It's like I couldn't even get excited about the fact that they killed the guy who was just responsible for killing so many freaks because everything happened so quickly and I felt so like down after the massacre that I couldn't even enjoy Dandy's death.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing all those guys die, like when like Legless Susie was trying to get away, and like it made me sad because I was like I love the badassery that they gave us the last episode, and there was literally no reason to take that away from them. Like the whole show is about these monsters trying to survive in this world, and yet some like guy with a learning disability is gonna shoot him. Like that's not. It's just like I don't understand how that like is a satisfying ending for anyone, you know.
And what about Stanley Meep Stanley now? I was like, in the water torture scene, I was waiting for him to come from backstage somehow. I was like,
somebody
like
crawl out and meep.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah, that would have been
awesome. Let's move on to the last section of the show, which I'm sure we'll have lots of feels about too. Elsa, Sasha, what do you think about that?
Elsa, like, I can't, listen. I will write an open letter to Ryan Murphy and say, I like Jessica Lange too. Like, she's good at doing accents. She's good at acting. She's a great actress. But can we please stop having these showcasey endings to American Horror Story where it's just the lights on Jessica Lange for no reason at all. Elsa did not deserve to meet those freaks in the afterlife and the big freaking tent in the sky. She should have been rotting with Dandy. They could have showed her doing that. They could have showed her meeting Dandy. She left her freaks and sold them to the person who killed them. Like, just so she could be on TV, and now she's winning awards, and now she's meeting the love of her life again, and now she gets this whole monologue talking about how this and that and the third, and we don't even get to like delve into her freak tendencies. I'm the biggest freak of all. Like, really, that's now you're realizing that? Like, now that's your depth of character? Like, Elsa, I honestly will say might be the worst Jessica Lange character in the history of like American Horror Story.
Oh, I definitely agree with that.
I think she is just like they did nothing that I wanted. They did nothing that I didn't want. I was left wanting more and then less. You know, like when Des stepped up and was like the Elsa last episode, I was like, great, now we're done with Jessica Lange. She can go away. We can see her win an Oscar and be done with it. But nope, we still have to, like, let's check up on Elsa and spend half of the episode on that when we threw away all her freaks, all her monsters, all her everything. And then she even still when they're like, oh, we heard you ran a freak show, and she's like, oh, I felt bad for them. Really? Like, you can't defend your freaks even then? I can't. She makes me her character makes me mad.
I know, just like what you said with the massacre. Those freaks didn't deserve that, and she didn't deserve the ending she got, which is why this is also unsatisfying. It just makes no sense.
And she clearly hadn't learned anything. She was still a horrible person in Hollywood when she got everything she wanted. She was mean to her poor husband.
Yes.
You know, the whole thing was just like, if she had maybe not made it in Hollywood, if she had been like, you know, homeless or something, then maybe she would deserve to go back to the freaks in the afterlife. But
or I was even thinking the whole time that maybe she would kind of just lose. Like, what if her fame went away, she lost it, and then got sent to asylum? Like that was pretty much the only thing that I could think of that would have saved her ending. Because there's no way. I don't think there's any way. A good way. Well, clearly, a good way to end that character's thing could not have worked because like she got everything she wanted, and that fucking sucks. Because wow, I'm cursing a lot this episode. She got everything she wanted and she didn't deserve it. But then on the other hand, let's say she died some horrible death and the episode just ended there. I can't say I would have felt any better, and I'll admit it. So like I do understand the writer's train of thought being like, you know, look at what we just did. We gotta lift spirits just a little bit. We can't just end it like that. But at the same time, then you can go back to, well, did the massacre have to happen that way at all? Maybe if they would have just killed Elsa in the beginning of the episode and then focused on the freaks putting themselves back together, only to have maybe Dandy tear it all down. I don't know. That sounds like a better trajectory for me, but...
No, I agree. I just feel like the way the episode was planned and written, and I don't... And the thing that I think bothers me a lot is that, like, these don't seem like last-minute choices. Like, oh, crap, we got to tie this up. This seems like something like, you know what, let's focus a lot of this episode on Elsa finding her way and singing David Bowie Heroes for no reason at the end. Like, if that just happened in the beginning, maybe, like, if we saw Jessica Lange maybe be killed by some, like, horrible Hollywood accident and she kind of afterlifed her way back to the freaks, like, that would even make me feel better, because you're right. Yeah. If she just died and it was horrible, that wouldn't have been satisfying. I don't want to even see Elsa die. I wanted to see Elsa, like, redeem herself and become the mother of the freaks again. Like, that would have been...
That's what we've been asking for all season long.
That would have been great.
I think that's what they were trying to do by having her end up with them, like, that she finally admitted that's where she belonged, but it was not deserved for her character.
She didn't earn it. She committed suicide.
Yeah.
She really did. It was so... Oh, yeah, that too. Like, when Twisty and what's his name come?
Mordrake.
Yeah, Mordrake, and they're like, oh, now you're dead. Like,
So stupid.
What a waste of them coming back.
I
love the idea of her, like, freaking out about performing on Halloween and seeing that catch up to her so far down the line, but do something with it. Don't just, like, parade these characters around and then be like, yeah, we don't want you. We changed our minds.
Yeah. I would have rather, like, Jimmy and Des and Bet and Dot show up in Hollywood. Like, maybe they're in the audience and then they, like, get their revenge. I don't know.
That was why the end of Asylum was so satisfying. It's because, like, even though everything might not have added up that whole season, at least that ending kind of was like, that's really freaking cool.
Yeah.
They're doing this right now.
Yeah, it was cool, and like you said, like, I kind of hoped, and I think even my husband said, like, wow, it would be great if Jessica Lange just, like, freaked out and went to Asylum, and that's how she became who she became. Like, that would have been, so badass and easy to write, and I bet it was an idea, you know what I mean? Like, I bet somebody had that idea, and somebody was like, no, Jessica deserves her swan song.
It's very disappointing that they made such a big deal, or I don't know, maybe the internet just made such a big deal about the seasons connecting, only to get that one connection, and then that's basically it.
I don't think...
I wanted that once more before we ended.
Right. But I don't think Ryan Murphy set out to have these seasons connect until, like, this season when people started speculating. Then he was like, oh, sure, that's a great idea. Like,
it's an afterthought.
Yeah.
He was like,
I think you might be right.
Because I believe Asylum takes place before 1960, which is when Elsa had her TV show Suicide, whatever.
It was like 1964, I thought.
Then I guess
it's like the mid-early 60s.
Well, I guess you could try to shoehorn it in, but I don't know. It's hard to justify.
Yeah, it seems a little forced at this point.
It's totally forced.
All right, so let's move on to our rapid fire section, which is the point in the show where we discuss what we're looking forward to most in the episode to come. But this time around, we're going to talk about what we're looking forward to in the new season to come. And for me, I'm really into the Operation Top Hat idea. But more important than the theme or the setting of the new season, I kind of just want a season that respects the viewers and respects the characters. Like, I'll always admit this show entertains me to no end. As unhappy as I have been with certain things, I'm mesmerized by it while it's on, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it while I'm watching it. But it's just like a big freaking slap in the face to wrap up Freak Show in a way. Especially, I mean, not to say, you know, I would never want to cover it again, because it's obviously not true, because I could talk about the show for hours and hours. But after pouring so many hours into covering and dissecting these characters and just loving the show, to have someone turn around and be like, yeah, so, like, that all kind of just meant nothing.
Yeah.
That's like my heart just, like, sinks.
I know.
That's not fair. So that's all I want next season. I want a season where the episodes actually work together and they build to some sort of satisfying conclusion that makes me feel like I stuck with the show for a season for a reason. That's all I want. Sasha, what do you got?
Well, totally that also. And listen, I like last night, I have fun sometimes looking for the little clues here and there, and I'm pretty, oblivious to most things, and I got excited when I saw Magic Connection last night. So I do like the connection of the seasons and maybe guessing where we're going next, like reading about how the next season is going to be in present day, maybe. I mean, but then again, like Ryan Murphy and the producers have had interviews where they've said this is what's going to happen, and then it hasn't happened. So I really do. I agree. I hope the cast stays the same. I love those guys. Like, we follow these actors for years now. So seeing them do different things, like seeing Evan Peters do stuff is like, it makes me happy. Like I like seeing the actors do this. Jessica Lange, whatever. But everybody else makes me glad. So I do want to see these actors in a different capacity. It would be nice to see them in present day too. I love period pieces, but a present day kind of mutilation kind of thing, nuclear testings, like that would be fun. But like Perry said, I really do. I would love a season much like Asylum where we can follow these characters. Even if I have plot questions, I want to love these characters, and I don't want to be angry at them for something that I know a writer or a producer created, like let's challenge Elsa, or let's challenge Jessica Lange to do something that she maybe wouldn't do. Let's kill her off in the beginning of the season and maybe see her come back triumphantly later on. Like that would be cool. Like, so let's kind of let's have these secondary characters that we loved even in Asylum and even in the Horror House, like Twisty. Like, all these characters are great. Do more, like, you know what I mean? Do more with the secondary characters, because we obviously really love them, and I for one am over the main actors. I like them a lot, but I think it would serve the show well for them to kind of have the first actors serve the secondary actors. So let's see some like color in the next season a little bit.
All right, Meg, what you got for us?
I want to give the writers credit and everything. I think that everything that they do is very deliberate, and like they clearly chose to have Elsa do this whole like David Bowie thing. She sang at least 2 songs, if not more than that, of his. So why? Like, why would you leave that hanging? Why would you have her be German? Why did she have her last name as Mars? Why were they in Jupiter, Florida? They're making these decisions, and like they could have had it in West Palm Beach. But I'm wondering if like, he's not full of shit. And like he said, oh, it's not going to be in space, it's not going to be futuristic, but maybe it is. Maybe they're dropping these goofy little hints either to lead us on, only to be like, no, I'm just kidding, or because it's an actual hint towards something. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe they do something futuristic, just because they've done the period, they've done the present day, why not future?
Ooh, aliens.
Yeah, I'm totally.
That could be a really easy route to tying all the seasons together too.
Exactly. Yeah. And there was this whole thing, like, it's Reddit, so I don't want to give it too much credit, but they were talking about how what if every season's connected and none of it's actually real, and it's all like some kind of alien projection from season 2 or something really crazy out there. And as much as it sounds nuts, I was like, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of brilliant.
If they run with it, I'd love to see what they could do with it.
All right, Alexis, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, well, I would like to see a couple things next season. Back to what Sasha was saying about the secondary characters, I actually think they need to pare down and go back to the first season style of a really focused group of characters. I think the problem with Coven, the problem this year, it's too much, too many storylines, and then when they have to wrap it up, we get what just happened, with a shootout, and it's not satisfying. I'd rather see them focus on a strong, 5-6 character collective that we can really learn about and come to follow and love or hate or whatever. I also would like to see a little more horror returning to the horror story, because the season there was suspense, there was some horror, but it was like a lot of it was just sad or like heartbreaking or, I don't know. I just think we need to get back to some more of those horror tropes the first season is still my favorite. Yep. Because it was such a traditional horror story.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Agreed, yeah.
So I'm curious to see who's coming back next year, what roles they play. If we, go with this Massimo nuclear testing thing, that could be interesting. But, I'm always going to it, hoping for the best. So
yeah, no, totally. And like Perry said, like it's really fun to talk about, because we're all getting so mad and animated, but like when it comes down to it, that's what a show creator hopes for is like 4 broads just being like, what the fuck, or being really happy about it, like this show obviously touches us in a lot of ways, so something's going right somehow. So
yeah.
All right, so on that note, that is a wrap on Following Freak Show episode 13, and a wrap on Following Freak Show overall. It's kind of sad. There were quite a few ups and downs throughout the season, but really, it has been such a pleasure sharing our thoughts with you guys each week. So thank you so, so much for following Freak Show with us, and high hopes for big things to come the next time around, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.